All right, Austin Soderquist here. Welcome back to RBP Messages. So in this video, I said I was going to talk about respect. In the last video, I said the next video I was going to do, we're going to be talking about respect. And I've also talked about that, I'm changing up this channel a little bit, doing a little bit different, going to be a little more conversational, and attempting to be a little bit more genuine, authentic, and just show up as me. Because throughout, so much of my life, I haven't respected myself as who I truly am. And I've been ashamed of myself, and I've tried to be other than myself. And there's a lot of that I see, around me and people that I work with, is we are really hard on ourselves. The worst critic that you'll ever have, as you've heard in the quote, is yourself. And so in that, we can do a lot better at respecting ourselves and being kind to ourselves. So in this video on respect, what is respect? What does respect even mean? What's your definition of respect? Now that's important because we all have these words and we kind of have a general sense of what that means and what the definition is. But each of us individually also can have a definition of what respect means for each of us individually. So I recently did a group with a couple different groups of teenage girls, and we had the discussion of what is respect and how do you show respect. Does respect need to be earned, or is that something that can just be there? And we had this discussion. And so what do you think? So what is respect, and does respect need to be earned? That's a good question. Because how many times have you heard someone say, you need to earn my respect? Or, I don't respect you. And you've heard that in some way or another. So, what is respect? Respect, in my opinion, is seeing other people, caring about them, showing up in a form of love towards them. Recognizing that they have value, that there's a purpose for them, that they're a miracle. You don't have to agree with them in order to respect them. There's life value, and so we can have respect for life in general. So whether someone's a good person or a bad person doesn't really matter, because their life has value. And so we can respect that in them. We can respect that their life has value. And so there's that dignity, there's that part of being alive that is worth respecting. And then from there, there's different pieces. One thing that I read recently that I really liked was, if you respect someone, or you say that someone has to earn your respect, you really don't respect that person. You respect their traits, their achievements, their status, where they are. You don't really respect them. You get that? And so if you say someone needs to earn your respect, even when you say you do respect them, you really don't respect them, because it's their traits or their behavior or their achievements that you're respecting, not the person. And I really like that, and I agree with that. And so respect is an inherent part of human life and life in general. Respect for animals, respect for nature, respect for the earth, respect for one another, respect for our property. There's areas in respect that we can show up in all throughout our life. And that's in the way we treat things, the way we show love towards things. So, does respect need to be earned? Probably not. Now, here's where it gets a little bit more tricky. How do you show up and respect someone that you disagree with? How do you respect someone that may be hurting you in the moment of that act? So one of the books we have our students read here at Recreation Retreat is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl, he was in a couple of concentration camps during World War II. And in his book, he talks about being able to show up in a state of love towards his captors and towards those who were even torturing him in that he was able to recognize that he was actually more free than they were in that moment. Now think about that, the power of that self-discipline, the power of the mind in that moment to be able to show up in a state of love for someone who might be hurting you. Now, that doesn't mean you need to allow them to continue to hurt you, right? So you can set boundaries, you can separate yourself, but continuing to show up in a space of love for them as a human being, knowing that people can change. Just because that's where they are now, that doesn't mean that's who they are. Separate the behavior from the person. That's a really important piece that we can do better at in this life. Separating people from their behaviors. People are not their behaviors. People are people of value. They have worth, and there's a purpose for them. In life, we tend to get hurt. We have experiences, and then our behavior shifts according to our beliefs and our feelings and trapped emotions and where we're at. You clear that up, people can make great changes and show up differently. So you're not your behavior. You're something far greater than that. And so recognize that in people, all people, even if you don't agree with them. So I recently had some experiences where I had a conversation with someone that I didn't agree with what they were saying. And so as I looked back at the conversation, I wouldn't change the words I said. I felt like I did a good job choosing the words that I said. I wouldn't even really change the way I said it because I felt I was appropriate in the way I said it and calm in the way I talked to him. However, it wasn't received as well as I hoped it would be, and partly was because of where my heart was and the energy that I was feeling inside. I was frustrated in that moment. And in that frustrated state is when I said the words, I still said it calm, I still said appropriate, respectful words, but the energy from which I said them was a frustrated energy. It would have been much better for me to take a break, to go out, take care of myself, deal with the emotion, find out what the trigger was, do some work on myself, and then go back to the situation and say those words than it was in that moment. And so recognize that within yourself and the relationships you have. Sometimes you might be saying the right things, you might be doing the right thing, but where's your heart and what's the energetic feeling from which you're speaking it? Because that gets communicated. And if we're not speaking from a place of love, that other stuff can disrupt the communication and make it so it's not received the way we intend. And so it's very important for us to be able to recognize it within ourselves and to take care of ourselves and our emotions so that we can then show up in a space of love and respect for the other people in a way that they're able to feel that and reciprocate it. So respect is something that we can all use a little bit more of, especially this season of elections, as you're seeing elections and stuff come up and election debates. People can be quite nasty to one another. And it's not very enjoyable for me to watch, to just see people beating up on one another and ripping down each other's characters. To me, I don't see the point in that. I want to hear about what are their ideas, what are their thoughts about how we can make a difference, not ripping down the person that's running against them. So that's something that we can all do a little bit better on, focusing on what our wants are, what our desires are, and show up in a space of respect for other people. And you can still hold people accountable. You can still call them out on things that are not working for them, but do so in a state of love and in an energy of love, not in fear, anger, sadness, some of those other ones that, isn't as helpful. So again, the point of this video is to help us recognize that respect is an important value in life, and I hope that we can understand what respect is, that respect does not need to be earned, but we can respect all life and show up in love towards all life, because all life has a purpose and is a miracle. You're a miracle, you have a purpose, just as everybody else on this planet does. And if we're able to see that in one another and see that within ourselves, we'll be able to do so many wonderful things in this world to better life and to make life better for not only ourselves, but for our children and our children's children, and so on and so forth. Loving ourselves, loving our communities, our neighbors, loving the world. And so thank you for watching this video. Please, if you found value in it, like it, share it with someone that you know that could value from this, could benefit from this as well. And stay tuned for the next videos that come up. And if you have any comments or anything that you'd like me to do a video on, go ahead and post it below. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.